Good morning. I'm going to try something new. I'm shooting a video in auto mode, because I've never done that before on this camera using the Sony A7C. We're just now heading into Round Valley. It is Saturday, August 7th at almost 10 a.m. Today's goal is to try and go to Big Dove, the dispersed campsite, then continue down FH7 to 22N11, circle back and hit Keller Lake along the way, see if we can get back to FH7. From there, let's see, we're going to Anthony Peak, then back down that road over north to M2, over SB Ridge to M1 to Howard Lake, and then home. It's going to be an ambitious day, so we will see how that works out. But the premise of this is to see how much burned in that area last year during the August complex, because we haven't been back to those locations since before the fires. So we're going to see what happens. Right now, Pepper's driving, and I'm videotaping, and the dog is back there panting and whining and doing her thing. But anyway, so stay tuned. Let's see what happens. Oh, the other thing I want to mention is that it's hard to show on the camera, but we're at about 2,000 feet in elevation, going down and around valley, as I said. We've got that, like, you know, when a winter day when the clouds are real low in the horizon, or low in the sky, we've got that, but with the smoke from the large fires going very well north of us. They're nowhere near where we're going, but the smoke is so thick it's traveled down here, and we're right about at the elevation of that smoke, although we're going down again. But I can't see Anthony Peak, and we should see it from here. So we might not make it, not necessarily because of down trees or burn, but because the smoke is just too thick. It's just not healthy. But go big or go home. We're going to do our best to bring you some content and see what we can find. So stay tuned. We'll turn the camera on a regular basis so that you can join and see for yourself. All right, see you in a few minutes. We're at about 2,700 feet in elevation, and as you can see behind me, the smoke is really thick. You cannot see very far. Normally you'd see, I can see the ridgeline. I'm not sure if you can. Normally you could see that clear as day, but again, the smoke is pretty thick. We're definitely getting thicker and thicker as we go up. Doesn't smell too bad though. It's definitely not harsh on the lungs. But we've got a lot higher to go. I think the highest we're going to hit is Anthony Peak at like 5 feet shy of 7,000 feet. So, tag along, day's just starting. Let's see where we end up next. Well, we made it to Big Dove, the campground, or dispersed site. Below in the description will be a link to what it looked like before the burn. Driving in, it did not look good, but when I first noticed the tent, I turned it around and stopped, and Pepper had time to kind of look at the canopy. It does look like the trees in camp survived. They're pretty green, but we weren't actually able to enter it. So hopefully on another return date we can go check it out. Behind me is one of the tanker fill locations. This is a water spring that seems to go pretty much year round. We've stopped here to let the dog get a drink of water, stretch our legs, and so on and so forth. Oh, there goes the squirrel. Good thing the dog didn't see it. So we're going to continue on to 22N11 right before Plesket Meadows, and then head double back and check out Keller Lake. Continue on 22N11 to M4. So stay tuned. The trip is not over. It's, I think, around 11 a.m. at this point, 11:30. We still got plenty of time. It's beginning of August, and there's still water flowing. We realized on the way up here, it was about a year ago today, we went and tried to go find that crashed bomber, and realized that it's actually a further hike than we anticipated, so we continued on, and that's when we found Kitchen Camp, Round Camp, and a few other spots. If you haven't seen those videos, I'll link them down in the description below also. So I'm going to rinse off, and we're going to hit the road and see what we can find next. That's a snow basin right behind me, and that should be Black Butte. As you can see, it's pretty smoky today, though. It's still pretty tolerable. Temperature's about 75, so it's not that hot. We just passed Plesket Meadows, and it says campground closed, but doesn't say day use closed. So I have to do some digging on that one, but we just put out a video on Snow Basin just a few weeks ago, so I thought I'd stop and show you this. I'm standing on 22 and 11, so check it out below. And there you go. That's what it looks like just almost a year to the date after the August complex fire. It's a little early, I think it started on the 20-something, but all right, let's hop in the car and keep going and check out Keller Lake. Standing at the vista point that is on our map pins, if you have a copy of that. If not, check out Patreon. I'll link to the video down below if you want to check this spot out. But this is a really awesome vista point, but right now, because the fire's up near Shasta Trinity, it's just covered in smoke. It's pretty thick, can't see very far, but still thought we'd share it with you. All right, headed on down to Keller Lake. Let's go. Behind me is Keller Lake and also Black Butte. You can see this fire hit this area pretty hard. We're gonna walk. We just got here, so we're gonna walk around a little more, and I'll give you a little tour. But directly behind me is the lake, and then Black Butte. So I wanted to kind of start there to give you some frame of reference. Again, I'll link the video, or 2 or 3 actually, down below. So check the description. All of the trees, all the way up to Black Butte, which is about center of camera now, scorched. My perception so far on 22 and 11 is it seems like the flatter the area, the less the burn. Both less as in like the trees look fine and the grasses look green, but yeah, lost for words. The steeper the terrain, it seems like the fire just got accelerated up the hill. And that's pretty much a 360. Let's head on down the lake. Fire definitely burned at ground level to the lake, but not to the marshy area. It looks like where the marshy area is, the ground looks unburnt, but we're walking through this. You can see all the way down to the marshy area, it burned real, all the way to everything on the ground, all the ground fuels, but everything in the marshy wet areas, see, everything out there is fine. Everything below it looks unburned and untouched, but everything else scorched. Let's go on some more. Whew. As I step, it goes from all the ash. Must have been a lot of organic material there that just smoldered and burned. A lot of algae this year in the lake. I keep wanting to call it a pond because it's not all that big. Oh, there goes a duck. Dog scared up a duck. That duck just landed in the middle of the lake. Yeah, the plants and the algae are definitely thicker. Let's head on down there. As I look at this pond, I'm wondering if all the nutrients from the ash, if there are any, wash downhill into this lake, and that's why the algae and other plants are growing so thick this year. If you know that answer, comment down below. Well, here's the lake. Okay. There's a duck out over there. You can still see the fish swimming. Must have been quite a view to be swimming in this lake watching the fire go over. Hope you can see those guys. I'm wearing polarized glasses, so that kind of gives me a slight advantage. I wonder what that weird species is. Seems to like the muck. bird nest right there. But if we move the grass aside in the marshy area, you can see there's no real sign of burn. It's just too wet. I mean, it's definitely sinking under my feet. This is kind of interesting, these tufts of grass that burned. These weird mounds. From a distance, I thought it was like a pig or something had come in here and tilled up the soil. Or whatever species that is. Got hit pretty hard in here. But it's still here. We were also able to drive in without any major issues. So here we go. I think next stop is Anthony Peak. So we got a bit of a drive. 22 and 11 southwest over to FH7 to M4 up to Anthony Peak. Hopefully. We'll see. Unless we get distracted along the way. Maybe we'll stop at Wells Cabin and see what happened there. Well, welcome to Anthony Peak Fire Lookout. Behind me is Covelo. Fire Lookout. And this piece of plywood down my foot looks like it burned, but other than that, it's not too bad. Smoke is really thick up here, but I'm having no trouble breathing. We're right about 7,000 feet up right now. So let me walk you around a little bit and see what's going on. So looking pretty close to, I think, east, and there's some burned plywood. The burn patches are pretty sporadic. And what you're seeing down here is not really burnt. So that's good. Down in there, not too bad at all. There's that little cabin down in there. It survived. On the way up, there was definitely some portions that were pretty heavily burned. Looking down in here, that's all pretty heavily burned. That says west 1. So again, Covelo should be, I think, that way. All of this is burned down in there below this green tree line. Fire Lookout itself, not bad. Probably got really smoky, but all in all, looks pretty good. Out of service per something station, visibility 5 to 10 ms, I guess. If it was SM, I'd say statute miles, but anyway. Okay, so next we're going to try and go down M4, back down M4, to M4, up M4, I think it's M2, over to SB Ridge, down into M1 Howard Lake. Really like this perspective of what has burned and what hasn't burned. I'm glad this made it, because this is a really cool spot. Anyway, see you in the next spot. Cheers. Little Doe Campground drive-through tour. It's too hard to walk through there. It's the end of the day, so we're gonna drive through it. You ready? A lot of firewood in here.
Howard Lake. Pretty low. Pretty weedy. Oh, a flock of ducks. There's the dog. The shoreline's fairly burned, but the area is still pretty pleasant. There's one side that looks pretty good. I like it.
Yuck is all I can say. Yuck. So, we made it. Last stop on our planned trip. We're at Howard Lake in the Mendocino National Forest. Up there is the M1. It's been a long day. We've seen a lot of cool stuff, but no regrets. Unfortunately though, this is again the last stop. We still have to go home from here, which is Sonoma County, so another 3 hours or so. Main reason I'm sad is just because we gotta go home. I want to stay. It's hard to see through the smoke, but this actually is not all burnt. There's a lot of greenery up there. Little Doe Campground, we drove through there. Looks pretty good. Looks like it did a good job of faring for itself, for lack of a better word. Because we didn't get any rain last year though, Howard Lake is extremely low. The water is way over there. Let's see if I can raise you up. It's way over there. And because of that, the lily pads, the water level's warmer, so the algae, other plants, the lilies, and I guess they're called tulies, have just taken over. So we were here about a year ago and actually fishing this. Didn't catch anything, so it was fishing, not catching. There's still water, and you saw the dog laying down, so it's here, but hopefully this year we get a good hearty rain. I'm looking forward to the rain also to put the fires out, because it kind of ruins the views. We've been to a few spots. We found a couple more vistas. Don't forget to check the map pins on Patreon. They looked like they'd be awesome, but because of the smoke, you can't see very far. And I've never shown you this spot before, but there's actually a campground right here on the edge of the lake. Yeah, let's go for a walk. Look, so you were just looking at the lake. We were standing on a little dock. Right here. Here's one of the sites. Let's see if I can rotate this around. There we go. Oops, get rid of that. There we go. So here's one of the sites. A couple of tables. You got a fire ring. There's another table up over there. And then over here, there's actually a little hiking trail. You can see it across. The board doesn't as much you use. You use that in the wintertime when the water's flowing pretty good. But right along here, it follows the lake edge. You can hike the trail over in the bushes over in there. Gotta see it. There's a bathroom here. There's a couple of more sites tucked up in there. Personally though, I like this one because it's right next to the lake. If I can find the name of the place, I'll put it in the description. If not, I'll definitely put the location down in the description like in all the other videos. This is a really nice spot. Like this bench right here overlooks the whole lake, which I've seen a lot of fish in there, but I've never caught any. So I know they exist. I've seen bass, just so you can come out prepared for that. Not to say there isn't trout or something, but I've seen more bass out there than anything else. I have seen people paddling around out there, but again, the lake is so low, all the plants have taken over. Maybe we'll get a good hard snow this season. It'll kill back the lilies, and then it'll keep the lake level higher, and there'll be more water to swim in, boat in, and fish in. Fingers are crossed for the best of my ability. Some of you know I've had these put back on before. So at any rate, I'm gonna mark this spot. I'm gonna go hang out with Pepper and the dog for a bit. We're gonna head home, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions or comments. And see you in the next one. Cheers. There goes a jackrabbit.